Okay, hello everyone. Once again, welcome to PM Networking. Guys, today I am going to perform this lab. This is my scenario. Here I am going to cover multiple scenario-based interview questions as well. Right, my time interview is asking question on scenario. Right, so we will cover multiple questions of CCNA 200301 exam paper as well. Right, and we will configure multiple protocols as well here in this lab. So as you can see, we will run EtherChannel, we will configure MST, we will configure trunking, right? Trunking encapsulation protocol. All PCs should able to access internet. So here we will configure NAT also. Here we will configure default route also, right? And PC should get IP address from DHCP server. So here on switches or on router, we will configure DHCP as well for both VLAN, for VLAN 20 and VLAN 10. First of all, let me explain this topology to you. Here you can see two PCs are connected through switch 1, PC1 and PC2. PC1 belongs to VLAN 10 and PC2 belongs to VLAN 20, and subnet of both PC is different. Okay, so here you can see subnet is 192.168.10.0/24 for VLAN 10, and for VLAN 20 subnet is 192.168.20.0/24, right? In the same way, two PCs are connected through switch 2 also, PC8 and PC9. PC8 is member of VLAN 10, so that's why PC8 have IP address from this subnet, from 192.168.10.0 subnet, and PC9 is member of VLAN 20, that's why PC9 have IP addresses from VLAN 20 subnets. So subnet for VLAN 10 is 192.168.10.0 and subnet for VLAN 20 is 192.168.20.0. So hope it's clear to everyone. Okay, first of all, let me show you what things we are going to cover here. So see guys, PC1, whenever PC1 will ping to PC8, path should be switch 1 to switch 2. Okay, so it's saying that configure MST, configure a spanning tree protocol or multiple spanning tree protocol in such a way so that whenever PC1 will ping to PC8, path should be this one. Right, so your traffic should flow PC to switch 1, switch 1 to switch 2, and switch 2 to PC8. In the same way, reply will also follow this path. Okay, so here, as you know, for VLAN 10 we need to configure this switch as root bridge. In MST we will configure this switch as root bridge, but for VLAN 20, see, whenever PC2 will ping to PC9, so this one is my PC2 and this one is PC9, path should be switch 1 to switch 3, then switch 3 to switch 2, so path should be this one, right? This one. So this time, as you know, here we need to configure root bridge. We need to become this switch as root bridge so that all ports will be in forwarding state and this port will be in blocking state. Actually, first of all, we will configure EtherChannel. Through EtherChannel, we will bundle the link, two physical link into one logical link. And here you can see task number 3, bandwidth between switches must be 20,000 kbps. So as you know, bandwidth of Ethernet link is 1000 kbps, right? So here, if you will combine two physical link together, so total bandwidth will be 20,000 kbps. So first of all, we will configure EtherChannel. Then we will configure trunking, because here you can see task number 4, link between switches must be trunk. Okay, so we will configure trunk. After that, VLAN 10 must be able to communicate with VLAN 20. So here we will perform inter-VLAN routing as well. Maybe on this on switches we will create SVI, right? Or we will use router. So we will configure router as router on a stick, right, to make communication possible between VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. So that's why actually I am using subnets from different subnet for different VLAN so that we can perform inter-VLAN routing. Okay, now all PCs should be able to access internet. So these all PCs of VLAN 10 and PC of VLAN 20 should be able to access internet. So here we will configure NAT, and not NAT, we will configure actually PAT, port address translation. And here we will configure default route as well on edge router so that this user can access internet. And then we will configure DHCP. So guys, without wasting our time, I am going to start the configuration. During configuration, I will explain small things whenever explanation is required. Okay, so first of all, I am going to configure EtherChannel on each switches. So let's begin from switch 1. So hope now topology is clear to everyone. On this internet, I will run one loopback IP address on internet router. So here, first of all, let me run one IP address on loopback interface, so that I will use that IP address to ping, to check that my user is able to access internet or not. First of all, let me check the configuration of internet router. Enable and show IP interface brief, exclude unassigned. So no, so IP interface brief. Okay, so I am not running any IP address here. So first of all, I am going to run, suppose 100.1.1.0/30 network between my edge router and ISP router. So here on F0/0, say no set, and IP address is 100.1.1. Suppose 255.255.255.252/30, right? And let me create one loopback interface as well, and here on loopback interface I am going to configure IP 8.8.8.8, subnet mask 255.255.255.255. okay, now let me save the configuration of internet router and let me remove the access, because now I don't need to configure anything on internet router. Now I am going to configure switches, these switches. On these switches, actually I am going to configure what? EtherChannel first. So let me take access of switch 1 here. First of all, let me show you something on the switch, default SDP configuration and so many things. So let me run one command, so spanning tree summary. So here you can see I am running which type of spanning tree protocol here? PVST, per VLAN spanning tree mode. So here we will change it, we will configure MST. Okay, then so spanning tree protocol. So this one is MAC address of this switch. This one is base MAC address of this switch. I have mentioned here also. You can see this one is MAC address of switch 1. Okay, where is my switch 1? Okay, and all ports of this switch. Okay, I think I have created some VLAN as well here. So VLAN brief. Yes, VLAN 10 and VLAN 20, and one port is also member of VLAN 10. So first of all, let me set default configuration here. So say no VLAN 10. Okay, now which interface? Interface E. Which port is okay? 1/0, E1/0, and switch port access VLAN 1, which is default VLAN. Okay, so let's begin the configuration from switch 1. Guys, I am going to configure EtherChannel. So first of all, I am going to disable a spanning tree protocol on all switches. So in global configure mode, you will run no spanning tree for VLAN 1 command, because I am running PVST and there is only one VLAN by default. Okay, so I have disabled a spanning tree for VLAN 1. Okay, no spanning tree for VLAN 1. Later I will run this command as well. Okay, now I am going to bundle the links between switch 2 and switch 3. So interface range E0/0 to 1, and here channel group number is 1 and mode on, right? Okay, in the same way, interface range E0/2 to 3 and channel group 2 and mode is suppose here also 1, and shut down. For now, let me shut down this port. Okay, and let me shut down this port also 02. Yes, this one shut down. Okay, so here, so do so or exit. So ether channel, here you can see I have created two group 2 and group 1. Fine. Now, as you know, we need to configure these two ports as trunk port. So interface port 1 is switch port trunk encapsulation .1q and switch port mode trunk, right? In the same way, interface port 2 switch port trunk encapsulation dot 1q and switch port mode trunk. I have enabled. I have configured trunk as well. You can verify. So interface trunk. So it's not showing any interface as trunk. Let me check. Let me do troubleshoot. So interface status. Okay, so because these ports are shut down now, so that's why it's not showing you. Let me up interface range E0/023 and say no set. If you will run so interface trunk command, you can see port 1 and port 2 are trunk links. So this is port 0 is one logical port by combining two physical ports towards switch 1, and this one is a logical port which is combination of two physical ports towards switch 3. Okay, now I am going to configure switch 2. Go to switch number 2. Here also we need to run command, same command, interface range E0/021. so 0/021 is connected towards switch 1. So here channel group number is 1 and mode is suppose on. Then interface range E0/223, channel group number is suppose 3. Okay, and mode is again on. Here also we need to shut down all interfaces. Okay, no leave. Let me remove a spanning tree. No spanning tree for VLAN 1. Okay, and interface port 1, switch port trunk encapsulation dot 1q and switch port mode trunk. Exit interface port 3, switch port trunk encapsulation dot 1q and switch port mode trunk. Here also you can verify. So interface trunk command trunk, here you can see port 1 and port 3 is trunk. On switch 1 I have some messages, so interface trunk. Okay, now I am going to configure switch number 3. Okay, here enable config T. First of all, interface range E0/023, I am going to shut down this port. Okay, and now I am going to create EtherChannel. So interface range E0/021, channel group 0/02. These links are towards switch 1, so channel is supposed to and mode is on. Fine, and there is two more link, interface range E0/223, channel group 3 and mode is again on. Here also let me disable a spanning tree. No spanning tree for VLAN 1. Okay, now we need to configure trunk. So interface port 1, switch port trunk encapsulation dot 1q and switch port mode trunk. Exit interface port 3, switch port trunk encapsulation dot 1q and switch port mode trunk. Okay, now interface range E0/024. Okay, so here we will run no shutdown command. Before that, no spanning tree for VLAN 1 and interface range E0/023, say no set. Interface range this one and say no set command here. Okay, so interface trunk. Okay, so here you can see port number 3 is trunk, port number 3 is trunk. Why not port 2? So let me run interface port 2, switch port trunk encapsulation dot 1q and switch port mode trunk. So interface trunk, now you can see port 2 and port 3 is trunk. Now go to switch 1 and you can verify here also. Fine, so all EtherChannel ports are configured as trunk. Now on switches, I need to configure MST, right? MST. So first of all, let me run a spanning tree mode, and as you know, by default PVST mode is running. So here I am going to set mode MST. Fine, a spanning tree mode MST, and a spanning tree for which VLAN? For VLAN 1, let me enable it as well. Okay, on switch 2 also, let me run this command. Say a spanning tree mode MST and a spanning tree mode MST and a spanning tree protocol for VLAN 1. And let me do same thing on switch 3 as well. Config T, a spanning tree mode MST and a spanning tree for VLAN 1, right? Now guys, on switches I am going to configure MST right, I am going to configure MST on switches, and I will make switch 1 to root bridge for VLAN 10, and I will make this switch as root bridge for VLAN 20, so that VLAN 20 traffic will be go like this and VLAN 10 traffic will go like this. Sorry, VLAN 20 traffic will be like this and VLAN 10 traffic like this. Okay, so let me configure VLAN first on switches. So VLAN 10 exit and VLAN 20 exit. I need to create 2 VLAN only, right? Now interface E1/0, you can see 1/0 is access port. Here switch port mode access and switch port access for which VLAN? For VLAN 10. Exit interface E1/1 switch port mode access and switch port access for which VLAN? For VLAN 20. Fine. Now let me do same thing on all switches. So go to switch number 2. Let me create VLAN 10, VLAN 20, interface E1/1 switch port mode access and switch port access VLAN 10. Exit interface E1/0 switch port mode access and switch port access VLAN 20. So this interface is member of VLAN 20. Fine. Now let me configure VLAN on switch 3, and here just I need to create VLAN, right? There is no any ports are member of VLAN 10 and 20. So VLAN 10 exit, VLAN 20 exit. Fine. Now I am going to configure MST. So first of all, let me make configuration of switch 1 so that switch 1 will become root bridge for VLAN 10. For that, what command you will run? A spanning tree VLAN 1 to, suppose from VLAN 1 to VLAN 10 I want to make this switch as root VLAN 1 root. Okay, for VLAN 10 I want to make this switch root primary. Okay, so we can run this command, right, to become a switch as a root bridge in STP domain. Fine. Okay, I will do this later. First of all, let me configure a spanning tree MST configuration. Okay, so here I am going to run one command. Command is just a spanning tree, after that MST configuration, right? So this command will take you in MST configuration mode. Here you will define the name of your MST. We can configure like suppose CCNA, right? After that you will define instances. So for instances 1, suppose VLAN is 1 to 10. So if I will configure this switch as a root bridge for instances 1, so this switch will become root bridge for VLAN 1 to VLAN 10, yes or no? So after that, let me define one more instances 2 VLAN 11 to 20. So instances, I am running instances 2 for VLAN 11 to 20 and instances 1 for VLAN 1 to 10. After that, a spanning tree. Okay, not here. Here what you can define now, revision number. So always keep in mind, revision number you will configure 1 only. After that, exit. And here a spanning tree MST for which instances? For instances 1. For instances 1, this switch should be root bridge primary. This one is primary root bridge for instances 1. In the same way, a spanning tree MST for instances 2 root bridge secondary. So this switch is secondary root bridge. So if primary will fail, then this switch will become primary. So I will configure actually on switch 3 as instances 1 as secondary. So here you can say this one is secondary for which instances? For instances 2. So if root bridge of instances 2 will goes down, this switch will become root bridge for instances 2 as well. Okay, now configuration of this switch is complete. Let me configure switch number 2. Here you can verify. So interface trunk. Okay, no need to verify trunk. Here you can run what command. So a spanning tree summary. So here you can see I am running MST for instances 1, MST 1 and MST 2. So we have 2 instances in MST. Okay, so a spanning tree for VLAN 10. So see, for VLAN 10, this is a root bridge. For VLAN 10, this is a root bridge. So all ports of this switch is in forwarding state. All okay, so see this port 1 is only in forwarding state, right? Switch 1 is in forwarding state. For which VLAN? For VLAN 10. So port 1 is connected to switch 2, so it will forward traffic to switch 2, right? And this port is alternate, port number 2, that this port is alternate. For which VLAN? For VLAN 10. So for VLAN 10, this is a root bridge switch. Fine. Okay, now guys, let me configure MST on switch 2. So here also you will run first command is a spanning tree for VLAN 1. Let me enable STP for VLAN 1 and I am going to configure MST. So a spanning tree mode MST. After that I need to configure MST instances here. So say a spanning tree MST configuration. Here you will define name. Suppose name is CCNA. After that you will define revision number, suppose 1, and instances. Instances 1 for VLAN 1 to 10 and instance 2 for VLAN 11 to 20. So I have created 2 instance 1 for VLAN 10 to 20, for VLAN 1 to 10, and instance 2 for VLAN 11 to 20. Fine. Now exit. Okay, and a spanning tree mode. Okay, I think already run this command mode, and here we don't need to define primary and secondary on this switch. So directly let me configure switch 3 now. Here a spanning tree mode MST, and then a spanning tree for VLAN 1, because I had run no spanning tree for VLAN 1, so I have again enabled a spanning tree for VLAN 1, and now I am going to configure MST. So a spanning tree MST configuration, name is CCNA, revision number is 1, and we have 2 instance 1 for VLAN 1 to 10 and we have one more instance 2 for VLAN 11 to 20, right? So now if you will check a spanning tree on the switch, so a spanning tree, see, so a spanning tree for which VLAN? For VLAN suppose 10, for VLAN 10. So for VLAN 10 you can see who is root bridge. For VLAN 10, which switch is root bridge? Switch whose MAC address is this one, whose MAC address is this one. This is the bridge ID, this one. So this one is MAC address of switch 1. So bridge ID. Okay, so I have run this command on switch 3 and I am checking for VLAN 10. So here you can see this one is root port. For VLAN 10, this switch is root bridge. Okay, let me check for VLAN 20 here. For VLAN 20, it's saying again root bridge ID is this one. What is the MAC address of bridge ID? 700. So switch 3 MAC address is not this one, I think. Yes. So okay, this one is MAC address of switch 3. So this one is bridge ID of this switch, and this one 0 is the root bridge switch for instance 2. So 200 I think is the address of this switch 2. So here I am going to define a spanning tree MST instance 1. For instance 1, this switch should be secondary, and a spanning tree MST 2 root, this switch should be root bridge primary. Okay, so now I am going to configure DHCP on this router. We can configure DHCP services on switches as well, on any switch as well, right? But for that we need to perform routing here in my inside network, in my internal network, right? That will be lengthy. So maybe we will discuss those things in next video, right? Maybe in another video. Today I am going to configure DHCP service on this router for VLAN 10 and for VLAN 20. So let me take access of this router. Say no. It will take some time, guys. So first of all, here we will define, we will enable DHCP service. Then we will configure a default route, because see, ping 8.8.8.8. I am not able to ping 8.8.8 from here. Let me configure this router first. Interface F0/0, say no set. Exit. Interface F1/0, say no set, and the IP address is 100.1.1.1 and 255.255.255.252 towards internet, and do ping 8.8.8.8. See, I am not able to ping 8.8.8. So here we need to configure a default route, because there is no any specific route in the routing table of this router for 8.8.8 network. So IP route 0.0.0 F1/0, and now I can ping 8.8.8. see, yes, I am able to ping. Now I am going to configure DHCP. So IP DHCP pool, suppose name is VLAN 10, and here I am going to define network 192.168.10.0, 255.255.255.0, and default gateway will be 192.168.10. suppose 10.10. Fine. And let me create one more DHCP pool. So IP DHCP pool, name it suppose VLAN 20, and here network will be 192.168.20.0. subnet mask will be same 255.255.255.0, and default route will be 192.168.20.10. Okay, now here we need to create two sub interface. So this one, say no set encapsulation.1q for VLAN 10, and here I am going to define IP 192.168.10.10. Okay, subnet mask 255.255.255.0. exit interface F0/0.20 encapsulation.1q for VLAN 20, here I am going to define IP 192.168.20.10 255.255.255.0, right? So configuration of this router is done. Now let me check these PCs are able to get IP address from DHCP server or not. So let me say IP DHCP, because these machines should be able to assign IP address from DHCP server, and here you can see this machine got IP address from DHCP server. So this machine is in VLAN 10, so that's why IP address of this machine is 10.2. Default gateway is this one. Let me check, am I able to ping my default gateway or not? 192.168.10.10. So yes, I am able to access my default gateway. Okay, but these machines are not able to access internet now. Ping 8.8.8.8. So this machine cannot ping 8.8.8. For that we will configure NAT. But before that, let me assign IP address on all PCs. IP DHCP. So this machine will also get IP address from 20 subnets. Oh, this machine is not getting. Let me check. Just wait, guys. Okay, so this machine is not able to find DHCP server. Okay, now this machine is getting IP address. Fine. So see, IP is 20.3, default gateway is 20.10. Let me ping my default gateway 192.168.20.10. So yes, I am able to ping, right? So first of all, let me check, is PC1 means PC1 is able to ping PC8 or not, because both belongs to same subnet, guys. Ping. Okay, so first of all, here we need to assign IP on PC8, say IP DHCP, and on PC9 also. Okay, and now on PC9 also, let me assign IP. PC, where is PC9? This one. IP DHCP. Okay, now from PC1, see ping 192.168. What is the IP address of PC8? PC8 got 10.3, right? So 10.3. So yes, I am able to ping the user who is sitting in VLAN 10, and path will be switch 1 to switch 2 directly, right? So, and can I ping VLAN 20 user? What is the IP address of VLAN machine 9? 20.1. So let me ping this time 192.168.20.1. So destination belongs to different network. So let's see. Say this machine is not able to ping user who is sitting in different VLAN. User who is sitting in different VLAN. So I think this link is trunk. Okay. So these machines should be able to access, able to communicate with each other as well. Don't know why it's not pinging, but let me check again. From switch 1, from PC1 to PC2, let me ping PC2. What is the IP address of PC2, guys? IP address of PC2 is 20.3. So ping 20.3. Okay, yes, I am able to ping 20.3. Then why I am not able to ping 20.1? So let me check the IP address of this machine. Okay, so this one is 20.4, right? IP address of machine 9 is 20.4. So yes, I am able to ping, right? Now, but these machines and user are not able to access internet. For that, on this router, I am going to configure NAT. First of all, let me create one access list 10, permit 192.168. Suppose 0.0, 0.0.255.255. Okay, and IP. Okay, first of all, interface F0/0.10 IP NAT inside. Interface 0/0.20 IP NAT inside, and interface E1/0 sorry F1/0 IP NAT outside. This is outside interface. Now here I'm going to configure PAT. So IP NAT command will be inside source list 10 interface F1/0 and overload. Now guys, let me check that PCs are able to access internet or not. Ping 8.8.8.8. So yes, now you can see PCs are able to access internet. Any PC, let me check from PC 9. Let me ping 8.8.8.8. So yes. So now each PC can ping to all PCs in network, right? PC 10 who is member of VLAN 10 can ping to the PC who is member of VLAN 20. All PCs of VLAN 10 and 20 can access internet, right? And we can configure, we can attach multiple VLAN, more VLAN on the switches as well, right? So in next video, I will show you how to configure DHCP on multi-layer switches, and then we will perform routing here. That time how I will configure NAT or PAT, default route, everything. Okay guys, so now that's all for today.